Welcome. On this channel, I do Linux programming and stuff. Currently working on trying to prompt engineer a core main epoll event loop for the game's server. Um, and I've gone through a couple of iterations. It's not quite there. I think the realization I've come to is that for this iteration or for the first useful version of this, that I want it to be an epoll loop in one thread that is shoveling messages onto a queue being handled by workers. And right now we have everything in at least as the last one we have generated, everything is in the same thread. So in this video, I'm going to do a couple of things. I'm going to kind of continue to clean up kind of like the preamble to my prompt, so that it's generating more exactly what we want each time, and also change the prompt so that it gives us this multi-threaded worker message queue version. So let's jump into it. The first thing to do here is let's just start with a copy of the previous, which was 49, and we're going to go to 50. Let's drop into 50 and make clean, make sure we don't have anything left over. I seen this earlier. There's this extra response misspell in here, so I'm going to RM that one. And everything else will get overwritten, but we need to update our prompt. Couple of things I'm going to do. I've noticed that I'm starting to get immediacy issues where it's starting to forget the older stuff. And so one of the things I want to do, is I'm going to move what is the preamble to the end now, just to improve that immediacy. This is all the stuff about, well, how to write the program. Whereas each of these blocks is, this is the program we're writing. Another thing that I want to do, I've realized, is I want to remove this stuff about graph is out into kind of a separate, just like I'm doing the individual programs. I want the graph is to be its own separate clause. First, before I go any further here, I want to take a look at I've been kind of tracking and improving a preamble in another folder here, and I am going to, now that I've made those changes, oops, I don't want this end. I want that much of it. And I'm going to take, this preamble here, and I'm going to rewrite it with this one. I'm also going to make changes. So when writing C programs, we're going to assume Linux, x86-64 is our target. These are the standards that we're doing. We want to set the compiler flag for default source. We do not, one of the things I want to tell it is when writing C programs, do not set default, do not set any, do not define any other feature test macros. I've had it, define the standard source one or whatever, the POSIX C source one, and that is not what I want. I just want the default source. That is giving us everything that we need. Oops, what did I just do? Add caps lock on there for a second. That should hopefully clean that up. Program, set the compiler flag and then do not define any other feature test macros. When writing, we want to use standard int. int types, assume it's for production, provide an annotated makefile. We want, when writing C programs, provide an explanation appropriate for experienced engineer, liberal use of asserts, and when writing C programs, make liberal use of logging. I'm just going to say. Okay. I'm going to get rid of the old, that other preamble file there so we can finish working. The other thing we're changing here is, and kind of the focus of this particular video is, in this, in the previous iteration, oh, that's not the one. Yeah, so for given file descriptor. So essentially what happened, the way this is worded was intentional. It's got a single loop and it actually, when it gets a message, it's in that single threaded loop that it calls out to process it. But what we actually want to happen here in the new one is, it just shovels the message onto a queue. So let's rework this a little bit. I remember seeing this and thinking to myself, the server should be oh yeah, this is some kind of leftover junk too, probably confusing it. The server should accept many long-running network connections on localhost port 4242. The server should provide a epoll loop in the main thread that, how would I want to say it, that pushes messages onto a queue. The server should provide a worker pool that processes the messages on the queue. The server should expect the server should expect a fixed length. The server should expect messages to have a fixed length binary header followed by a variable length body. The message header should consist of two fields, the message type and the message length. The message body should be followed by a null terminated. The message body should consist of a null terminated string. The message types should be defined as an enum in a common message in a shared message.h file shared by the server, client and server. Provide 3 example message types: echo, reverse, and time. The echo message should generate a response to the client that is identical to the request. The reverse message should generate a response to the client with the text message, with the text message with the text in the body reversed. Time should generate an ISO 8601 formatted response to the client that contains an 8601 formatted time string. And then we go into the client, which we're not changing anything there. And then we're going into the GraphViz. When writing programs, create a graphviz.file that this is funny, that explains the logical flow of all programs. The when writing dot files, use a vertical layout. When creating dot files, provide instructions for turning when writing dot files, include a make file target to turn them into PNG files. Okay, so we're treating these as kind of like separate build targets. And then we have our preamble down here that hopefully it's no longer a preamble. What is the opposite of a preamble? What is the opposite of a preamble? I would like an antonym, not a synonym. Maybe it'll give me that option here. Epilogue. What's the difference between the two spellings? Variants, also epilogue, a final section or speech. So it's the epilogue nowadays. So that's how I'll refer to it. Okay, so let's take all of this and give it to Gemini. Oops, let's get it in there. Run it. Now, I mean, given its performance before, I generally assume that this is going to give us a working example. I've been getting better and better as I go through the what was the preamble is now the the epilogue, to kind of tune it so that it doesn't make dumb mistakes in how it's choosing which C standards to use. I mean, it helped me learn kind of the difference all around the C standards and how. In fact, I should take some time to explain it at some point, all in one spot. But the reality is here. Let's see if it gives us a make file real quick. I can just kind of say it. Now it's going to give the make file at the end, I bet. So let's take a peek at what it's doing here. I'm going to read through it. The concurrency model. The main thread acts as a reactor using epoll for blah, 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 blah for a number of concurrent connections. Its sole responsibility is to accept connections and read complete messages. This offloads the actual message processing to a worker pool. That is exactly what we want. Decoupling I/O and processing. A thread-safe blocking queue is used to decouple the I/O thread from the worker threads. The reactor, main thread, and queues work items and worker threads. Sorry. Okay. Blah, 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 blah. This design prevents long-running CPU-intensive tasks like reverse or other hypothetical business logic from blocking the I/O loop. Not so sure that reverse is all that intense, but message framing. A custom binary protocol is used for a clear message. I mean, so this is everything we're asking for, right? We're getting header followed by body, worker pool. Each worker runs in a simple loop, blocks on queue, dequeue a message, process it. Client is kind of irrelevant right now, but Error handling and robustness. Oh, I should probably put some instructions in about handling sigterm and sigint, because the graceful shutdown might have pieces inside of the message queue, inside of the event loop for sure, and so it's easier to get uh, Gemini to write them for me than me to go figure out all the pieces, the little pieces that I need to put in there to get a clean drain. Error handling and robustness. The code makes extensive use of assert, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so I'm actually going to make that change before I even download and do this. But I want to look at the makefile and make sure it's doing the right thing here. Okay, so we get standard C18 and default source. That's what I want from it. Um, And then I just want to take a look at the C files and make sure that it's not defining other feature test macros. And it is right here, this stupid thing. So they're easy enough to peel out, but you know what I'm going to do is we'll improve um, when writing C, set compiler flag okay, when writing C program, set the compiler flag to use the feature test macro default source when and no others. No other. We'll use only the compiler flag to only use the feature test macro default source, right? Um, and then I'm going to add a line that says when writing C programs, never include feature test macro definitions in the source code. I always end up having to remove those because you get the duplicate warning error. It's okay. And then it's the other thing that I had just know. Oh, the um, in the client we do this message right here. I'm going to put this up. The server program should gracefully close its network connections and terminate um, on sig int and sig term. So just that little bit should be enough to get it to. So let's regenerate before we test anything. So let's start over. Everything looked pretty good, but I want to get that last bit in there. I should spend some time understanding better all of the parameters that you can provide here. Um, um, but that's for another time. Right now, let's just see if we can get a useful result. Hmm. I wonder why it's deciding to use. Well, I can see why, because these values are shared between the two. These are all, but like no. So this is kind of funny placement for these, but whatever. It works. And here it goes again. It I asked it explicitly not to put that there. It obviously didn't understand me. Um, okay. Well, let's let it finish generating here, and then we can start to download the pieces and test them out. Okay. So let's start here with Message.h. Let's download message.h. So we're in 50. Message.h. Yes, replace. Server.c. And client.c. And then flow dot. I want to give that a specific name. I don't want it changing from run to run. So flow dot. And then make file. Make file. Okay. So let's drop from there. Clear. Make clean. Make. Oh, first off, we're going to get for clear. Vim. Let's go. Okay, so the make file is C18. That is all right. And then let's grab all the C files and get rid of these. Yeah, okay. Make clean. And then let's just make client. And what we're getting is I don't know why it's complaining about C99. We are defining C18. But I'm going to start by I understand what it's saying. So where is log info defined? Grep r at log. Oh, I'm not going to find it that way. So let's just look at. So it's telling us, that this. We're trying to say, hey, you got a variable number of arguments coming, but we didn't pass you any. And my guess is this is more a like picking the right standards problem than it's a valid way to write it, I'm sure. And what's really being expressed wrong here is um, the necessary standards to achieve it. And so let's just take a quick look at what the internet has to say about that. So pedantic float, removing pedantic compiles. So if I remove pedantic, does it compile? That isn't the answer that I want. Vim, uh, make file, and oh, it did compile anyway before make client, make clean. Yeah, so but I do want pedantic to work. What's the right answer here for da, 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 da. Or if the syntax is used in IS The thing I'm not actually following is the ISO C99. I mean, I know that um, like C18 is really just is just kind of a clarification extension on top of it. Uh, and you can see that um, uh, when you're looking, well, I guess you can't really. Um, but if you define the ISO macros, um, or the POSIX C source macro, then I wonder if that would fix it. I wonder if me telling it not to do that. Okay, but uh, what, the pedantic compile option requiring strict C99 compliance is no longer um, used in release 9.0, so this problem should be eliminated. Um, it is probably a bad idea to try and mix pedantic with default source, because default source is kind of saying, hey, these are like all the standard extensions. Uh, I think I am just going to go that way for now. So let's make everything. And we're getting, hold it. Oh, I put pedantic back. Make clean, make. So that makes everything. Let's, you know what? Okay, so I'm going to kind of jump back to it. I'll have to do a little bit of research, but default source is essentially saying, hey, these are all the standard POSIX extensions that you should be able to use. And it looks like the variable number of arguments might be one of those extensions. And so it kind of just literally just conflicts with pedantic then. So, it's me asking to do two things that conflict with each other. I'll have to investigate it. Here, let's run the server. And then here, let's run a client. So I see a time, a reverse, an echo. Let's split down and run another client and another client. So we got, now if I stop this client, it stops cleanly. If I control C there, the server shut down cleanly. If I start it back up, and so these all, so one enhancement I'm not going to do in this session is that I'm going to make it so that the clients, um, what I want from the behavior I want from the client is if they lose their connection, they just kind of politely just sit and try and reestablish connection. And that's going to be the initial way that I handle. Um, I mean, it sounds cheesy, but it is the initial way that I'm going to handle deployments. Is the game will kind of handle. It'll have live connected clients, and there'll be a restart. There'll be a shutdown and a restart, and they'll just kind of politely hang out and wait for that to happen. Kind of giving you the, hey, the server's restarting, 1 second kind of message, and that's how I intend to handle deployments and restarts in the very beginning. Um, Trying to make something more complex, I realized, is a premature optimization. Um, I guess is the way I'm just going to say it anyway. So this all looks really good. It seems to work. What I'm going to do is I'm going to capture all of this. It's all good except for the pedantic thing. So we want to copy that as markdown. I want to, let's close these other panes. and then vim response, and let's add in the one that we just copied. Status. So let's make clean what we didn't do. Let's make again. I want to check out that flow PNG. So CP flow. I'm gonna drop it in my, not my documents. I want to drop it in my downloads. And then I can didn't I just copy the PNG? No, I copied the CP flow make. Do we not have the vim make file? Make graph. And now we can copy flow to PNG to downloads, where I can take a quick look at and see what it gave us. Okay. Oh, I like how it laid it out. So we got the worker pool sitting in the middle. Okay, this will help when I go to try and understand all the detail. Perfect. Well, here, let's do the last bit, which is make clean get status, and add everything here. I'm just going to do that. Git push. GitHub. Okay, that is this video. We seem to have our single threaded epoll loop with multiple workers and a clean shutdown. And in the next video, I'll pick up with evaluating that and see if it's ready to bring into the main program, or if there is more prompt work that I iterate on the prompt to improve it before we do that. We'll see which way we go. I will see you in the next video.